Hello, hello. It is your boys, the DM podcast, once again giving you that flavor in your ear this NBA off season. Today's episode of our pod, we are going to talk about the 19, oh no, 19, we're done in the 90s. The 90s is gone. You're right. The
We didn't
2001,
let him.
2002 drafts, both drafts, they were mid. Oh, we can't even lie. Like, there's some names we're gonna talk about, but both ultimately speaking are pretty mid. You're not gonna go home with these names and go like, man, da 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 da. But there's some guys we're gonna talk about, of course. We're still going 0102, and we're also gonna. I have a question posed for YS about is it easier to draft now? Was it easier drafting later? And I got a special game for him that we're gonna do right after I asked my co-host YS, how's everything going?
You already know every day above ground.
Of course, as long as we're above ground, we cannot complain. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We got some comments on that 97, 98 draft. Please keep commenting, view it, like it, do all the stuff. Continue. Let's build a family with the DM podcast for sure. Clearly, our 2000 draft, not a lot of people loved it. It's okay. That draft was trash. It's fine. We admit that draft was not good. It was pretty hard to even pick a 10. So we'll
Yeah,
give you all that. But before we even go to the next two drafts, I wanted to pose a question to you, a little game. I want to ask you. You don't even know. I didn't let you know. I kept it secret from you. But I want to ask you, YS, who would you build around? So I give you 10 guys, but it's one-on-one, one versus one. And I'm going to ask you who you build around and why you would build around them. You ready for it?
yeah, yeah.
So, and since we were doing a bunch of drafts, I went some old school, not really too old school, but like our kind of generation, and some new school guys too. So, first, I'm going to start with the new school. I feel like I already know who your pick is. You're the GM. This is guys in their prime. So don't worry about they're gonna get better than us. This is prime player. You
Okay.
got you can say a season or two. You're building around this guy. Would you build around Donovan Mitchell, prime Donovan Mitchell, or prime Devin Booker? Reason why I picked those two, those guys have always been kind of people have been comparing them for years.
Yeah, yeah.
When you think of one, you think about the other. So who would you build around? Devin Booker or Donovan Mitchell?
Like I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Donovan Mitchell. I like Booker. Build around, that's tough, right? You're going, let's head to head. I'm probably gonna go with Booker maybe. I'm gonna go with Booker. This is just by a little bit, not by like, oh, Booker is crazy compared to, it's by a little bit still.
If you had to do a
He
percentage, what would it be?
be about a 28%. At a slight edge, I feel Booker has better defense. That's really it, to be honest.
The thing is, like I was saying last week with Devin Booker, he really impressed me with his like ability to be like, I'll be a wing guy and I'll just take a step back. Like, don't gotta worry about me. I'll play hard, no defense. Mind you, his defense is not great, but you're correct. He's gonna play harder defense than Donovan Mitchell will.
Yeah.
Um, to even add to this question, if if you're building on Devin Booker, the next teammate, who are you focusing on? Is like a power forward, a point guard, a center who can score. Who would you pair Devin Booker with?
Assuming the point guard is a fair point guard, like is a decent point guard, I'm probably gonna pair him with you know what? I'll probably pair him with a wing.
What type of wing do you have in mind?
Defender, long, athletic, can score handle, sort of thing like that. Player like that. As long as their point guard already that is there is he's with is okay, is decent. Like he'll pass first, shoot the three, sort of thing, like a Tyus Jones, something like that at least. And yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. So you picked Devin Booker. The next one is Giannis and Jokic. I want to give you a little bit harder. Who would you rather build around? Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, or Jokic the Joker?
Mm, honestly, prime. I'm going with Joker still, to be honest. I'm going with Joker.
What makes you want to go with him?
The reason with the Joker, he has just a little bit more than Greek. You know what I mean? That can offer the team with the passing ability. You know what I mean? The playmaking ability. Greek can play, but Greek can't really play make as of yet. Like he can make plays, but he can't make something out of nothing, right? And I feel Joker is better, has more ability to do that, right? So
I think this for both will be the same answer, but you probably put a guard near them to make them the best version, like that
definitely,
second person, right? I think they both kind of have that guard that can kind of help them lead the way. I'm hoping also we'll start doing this more. I think we may have mentioned we want to start doing shorts. Like I can start cutting it and doing YouTube shorts and probably putting it on TikTok as well. But that's something I'm thinking down the line when we talk these. The next one, I know you're gonna love this one. This is in your wheelhouse. You're a big T Mac fan.
shout out.
So T Mac versus, I think if I'm correct, your favorite player, Melo. Who are you building around and why?
Man, I'm gonna be so biased. I'm building around the golden nugget. I'm building around the golden nugget. I'm building around Melo, right?
Why?
Why?
Or is it
Melo
just biasness? Or just being biased?
Melo is just such a prolific scorer, in my opinion, right? Melo in his prime was a three-level scorer. He was banging with the best in the league. I remember when it was LeBron James, like Cavaliers, led by LeBron James against the Nuggets, led by Melo. And every time that duel would happen, it was prime time. And what would happen? Melo would have the edge all the time in a lot of those battles, right? It's just as they got older, LeBron does LeBron. But in the prime, Melo, 22 years old, Nuggets, come on, come on.
So then maybe we'll do like another video of this. But if you're the GM for Melo, this probably could be like its own podcast of players who we all think are great, but like it's like almost an organization failed them, or you could have done more for them, whatever. If there was no cap space, what would
Oh,
you do?
you're opening a can right
Right,
now.
that's a big can of worms.
You're opening a can right now because I gotta say F George Carl
Yeah,
already. We're
yeah,
talking about that
yeah.
already.
I don't think he really wanted the team to like be successful. When you like see the way, even the way he talks about players nowadays, you're like, did you even want the team to do well?
It's crazy. It's crazy. And you're dealing with like 19, 20-year-old kids. It's just crazy. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So it's like,
he
okay.
could have been a lot better. But if you had to be Melo's GM, who are you pairing him with?
Who am I pairing him with? They had him Camby with a minute, but with Melo, he had a prime. He had to have a guard, I would say.
See,
Or
because
the
I don't
guard.
think he had a prime Billups. He
He
had
didn't
like
have a prime Billups. He didn't. And AI he was, come on, come on.
I think like I don't know, maybe like a Chris Paul type,
Oh
like a
shit. Chris
general.
Paul with Melo would be kind of scary.
Yeah, like a
That would
general
be
who will
kind of,
help him. But I also think
yeah.
is that age Mello listening to a floor general like a Chris Paul? Because Chris Paul is very demanding. Would Mello listen to that in a perfect world?
They would figure it out. They would figure it out.
That's a good way of looking at it. Because I think Melo's smart enough to go like, why wouldn't I go for this? The next one, because of all the love that we got from that last video, I don't think we did this question. If we did, we're doing it again. It doesn't matter. Paul Pierce versus Vince Carter. Who would you rather build around?
Well, Paul Pierce has a ring. All right. Paul Pierce has a ring. It was the truth.
Both prime.
Both prime. Oh my God. Like, I'm leaning towards VC. I'm leaning towards VC because of the impact he had on the city, right? The impact he had on the city, basketball wise. And besides that, VC was just filling up arenas. So it didn't matter what team he was drafted to in his prime. He was just filling up arenas. He could have been drafted to the Grizzlies. On the Grizzlies, They go to Houston, they go to New York. They're coming to see VC play. Just come to see the highlight reel. He was a highlight reel, so
I think if the league, the way it is now with all the trades that we see nowadays, if we had a Vince Carter at that time with the way that we do trades, probably would have stayed because we would have done whatever to trade for whoever this man wanted. It would have
yeah,
been like Vince, because Vince was a top five player
yeah,
at the time.
yeah. At the
We would
time,
have been like, who do you want? Like we'll trade draft picks. We'll get Ray Allen, a young
yes,
Supersonics Ray Allen if you
yes,
need.
yes.
We'll get whatever you need to build whatever you want to build, we'll do it. I really do think like we would have done anything for that guy. True.
Yeah, but
We probably would have brought Jason Kidd to Toronto.
that would have been crazy. Yo, that would actually.
Jake,
You made a
Jake
lot of
Kidd,
guys' career a lot better, Jason Kidd.
he's my favorite player of all time. But like him in Toronto, I would know what I would do. That guy
Mhm.
was on Toronto. But I think we would have done whatever for Vince Carter. If it was in this day and age, man, the
Yes,
amount of trades
social media era. Yes, yes,
because
definitely.
we would have pressured the office to be like, yo, build around Vince. You see what he's doing. He's he's a clean version of John Morant. Like the way John Morant was like, you know what I'm saying? Like the clean version of that. Like
Pretty good,
have to
pretty
build
good.
around it. Last one, Kevin Garnett
Okay.
versus Charles Barkley.
Ooh. Prime Charles Barkley was he
Yes.
had like a 40-20 in the final.
Yeah. Prime Charles Barkley is a
Damn. Against KG, like they're both beasts. That was tough. Honestly, that's
yeah.
tough. This is drink
This is
champs. I'd
a
have to drink.
tougher
This
one.
is drink champs. I have to drink. But damn,
Like Prime,
KG did he make the 75?
he made the 75, yeah, for sure.
Damn, KG made 75 too.
Charles really
Honestly
did,
speaking, I've KG had a longer career, has a ring.
but both prime. Like you're both prime. Forget the accolades. This is your GM. You gotta pick one.
Honestly, I may get a lot of hate for this, but I'm probably picking KG. I'm honestly picking KG because it's to me it's the shot, it's the jumper,
He
it's
doesn't
the
have a
jumper.
jumper.
KG had a silky jump from anyone on the court still. So
The thing is, like, I look at prime, Charles, and I think like if he just had a certain type of players around him early, mind you, he had a pretty good squad in Phoenix.
yeah, Kevin Johnson and Dan
Yeah,
Marley and shit. Like
yeah,
this
he had a
wasn't
pretty
no
good squad.
slouch.
But he's like
And
he
Dan Marley
averaged
was a
60
defender
points.
too,
Yeah.
right? Not to Jordan. Shout out to Last Dance. Not to Jordan, but he was a defender overall, Dan Marley. Kevin Johnson was a 20 and 10 guard. Like,
No, the Charles is that guy. But I think, you know, the way Garnett can play multiple positions at a prime, and then he probably an easier person to build around
mhm.
because you can put multiple scores around him. Like Charles is your number one option. So you got to put people who are willing to take a back seat for Charles, where Garnett's willing to take the step back to make
Yeah,
other people better. So, but yeah, that was our who would you build around. We'll probably do way more. I have a big one, which will once again will probably turn into a podcast within itself. I'll even tell you right now what it is. Steph Curry, so prime Steph Curry versus prime Shaq, because they're two different players. The way the league is, it's just the most dominant guy, the best shooter. Who would you build around? That's a podcast within itself. Of we would have to go through each man's like what makes them so good, their accolades, and the way the league is. But
that's crazy already because they already got like 4 rings plus both of them, right? So it's just kind of
yeah, I think in one season you build around this man, and like Shaq being the most dominant player is so hard not to pick. But Steph Curry's the best shooter of all time.
yes, that's the thing.
Incredibly hard to pick.
You have all time most dominant, all time best shooter, so it's literally like all time all. They're both on the Mount Rushmore,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah. So yeah, I think our future pod will probably go like I just thought of one right now. I'm gonna say Hakeem versus Durant. Even though like that one could be easier to pick Durant, but you're also saying prime Dream Shake.
I'm leaning towards Hakeem. I don't know. Everyone's Durant.
I think people would
Leaning
pick
towards.
Durant.
I'm definitely
Durant.
on Hakeem.
I
Durant, no. Durant, that one we can argue. We can argue with that when that comes up. But it's definitely for me, Elijah. I'm not even looking at Durant. Like it's easy. It's 1, 2, 3, Elijah. Back
wow.
to back, Dream Shake, elite footwork,
The defense is crazy.
defense is
Um,
crazy. If he was playing now, the Dream would be killing guys. Like killing. He'd be
because because Hakeem is Embiid with health.
yeah, yes, you're right. With health, yes. And the
So
better footwork, because
and
that's
better
what
forward.
yes, so take that in. And I feel a softer touch around the
Yeah,
rim.
yeah, 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 for
So
sure, for sure, for sure. The next thing to go through, your thing's a little frozy, but it's fine.
both you on your side, I see you just not really okay, yeah.
Oh, we're all good. That's blessed.
We good, we good.
Um, the next thing I have before we get to the draft is, we've been doing the drafts for the 90s. We're gonna get to the future, the 2010s and stuff like that. We're looking at both, right? And I want to ask, in the past, they would go 3, 4 years in college, then come to the league. But we're seeing a lot of bust when we look through these drafts. But we're also seeing one and dones, which is also bust. The draft within itself is a crapshoot. You never know what you're gonna get. There's no
Yep.
guarantee. Josh Jackson was supposed to be the wing of the future. Nerlens Noel was supposed to be like defensive player of the year multiple years. Like Joe Smith was supposed to be the future. We're gonna talk about the number one overall pick in this past drafts. Like there's always gonna be something. But what would you say would be harder? Would be harder to draft in the era of guys playing 3 years in college and then going to the league, or drafting now where it's like everyone's one and done.
I feel like it's way harder now. Well, not way hard, but I feel like it's harder now because you're seeing like obviously a sample size of what they can do, right? One season they could be healthy, great that one season draft, and then these guys are played with injuries. But with a 3 year at least size, you can see okay, their tendencies, their defender, their work ethic, did they develop at least from season 1 to season 3,
Right.
right? Stuff like that. Are they coachable? Stuff like that. Like, are they injury prone? You're gonna know after like kind of maybe 3 seasons, you're gonna be able to see like, okay, person has a bad knee, bad leg, bad back, whatever. So you can, to me, I rather the 3, 4 years personally. This one and done is it's difficult. Yeah, it gets guys in the league earlier, and there's two sides to it. But on the GM side, the development picking the best player, you have to look at more years in college
I
slash
think
university.
I think if you're a GM, right, like you like the one and done because you have the young player in your organization longer. So you're correct. Like you have them longer, you can build their habits, their attitude. You can see if they're a type of person that wants to learn. If they don't want to learn, then it's there. But I also like the 3, 4 years because you kind of know what you're getting. Like you already know, so you don't gotta like think more about it. You're like, you know what? You know, this Vince Carter is gonna be a flashy guy. He may not grow more than what he is today. You knew what you're getting in Shaq, a dominant player. Alonzo Mourning, Patrick, you knew what you were
Yep.
getting. So I think that's what makes it easier to kind of to draft those type of players. But I think this time of drafting, you can give up on guys way quicker because you're like, oh, you're not gonna do the skill that I thought you were gonna have. Well, cut. At least in the 90s, you can be like, you're supposed to be a good jump shooter. I'll give it a year to get your jump shooting back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I'll give you some time because this is what you've always been good at and always established. You went from high school to college a year, and now you're here. If you're not getting a jumper, you're gone.
It's true though.
Something consistent, like you need to be good at something, or you're gone. There has to be. So yeah, but I wanted to see what your thoughts were. Let's get to the draft. The '01 NBA draft. When we look at it, this one was it had guys. It had guys. This one has some guys that we
That's
can talk
some people.
about.
That's some people. Yeah.
It had some guys who are gonna go to the Hall of Fame. It had some All-Star players. Some of the names I want to shout out we probably won't mention. I don't think I mentioned. Yeah, Carlos Arroyo. Carlos
Shout out
Arroyo had like a
Puerto
time.
Rico. Whoa.
He had a time. Like he had a good like when he was killing in Puerto Rico, then came to the league, did his thing. Kind of was a quick, time in the league from what I
He had
have
game. He
seen.
had game.
He played for the Raptors. I remember his Raptors time. Like he was yeah, he was a good player. And it says he's 6'2". He did not look 6'2".
Hell no.
He did not look. Jamario Moon, another, Toronto Raptor who like I always feel like the Raptors, especially at that time, we always had all these like good players that people didn't talk about. They went to other teams and people started talking about them more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
The
he's one of
Toronto
those
thing.
guys.
The Toronto thing.
Jamario Moon's cousin or relative, he played for the CBL, the Canadian League. So
Yes.
he's also now with the Clippers. So shouts out to that. Any other guy? There's another guy, but he's in my top 10, so I don't even want to mention him just yet of the undrafted. Any other? I think with the Twins, the Jaron Collins and Jason Collins. Don't see. Is this the Lauren Woods? I remember him. He's a center. He
Yeah.
played for the Raptors. I don't think I see any
Was there Rodney Rogers on that draft? He played for Raptors too, right?
Ronnie Rogers. I think so. The name sounds no Ronnie Rogers.
Oh,
There's a Rodney White.
okay. Wow, I'm mixing it up.
Shouts out to Brandon Haywood. Samuel
Shuts up. Yeah.
Dallenberg, which it says that he's Canadian, but he was
Man's Haitian.
he's Haitian. He's one of those people
Oh
that
yeah, he went to MTL,
he
but
did.
he
Yeah, he
wasn't
went to high
born there.
school.
Was he? Was he born there? He wasn't born there.
No, but he went to a school in Montreal. See, and he was the guy that like Team Canada at one point. He was like the face of Team Canada because we didn't have anyone,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he got into a fight with the coach at the time. Brian Scalabrini's a part of this. Earl Watson, shout out to Earl Watson.
Shout out Earl Watson.
But yeah, that's really
Shout out UCLA.
yeah. Shout out to Earl Watson ex fiance. If anybody knows, they know. Anybody knows, they know. But yeah, let's get to this draft. In this draft, Kwame Brown was the number one overall pick. He was supposed to be like
A guy.
great, yeah, a great power forward. The most famous thing about Kwame Brown, unfortunately, is I think Stephen A. Smith talking about him. So that's like the most viral thing that's ever happened to him. But he talks a lot more now on camera, and he just swears a lot.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like he's a menace now on camera, just a menace. And there's a few guys that we can mention, but we will start the draft. Who is your number one overall pick for the 2001? Or give any comments for you? Have any comments about this draft? Was it hard for you to find the 10, or what was your thoughts of the draft?
This draft was okay to find the 10, actually. It was all right still.
Now, who was your number one overall pick?
My overall pick, man, was Tony Parker.
He was mine as well. I
You
will
already know.
say mine. He was. I think our first two is probably the same. But why was Tony Parker your first overall pick?
You already know floor general, dynasty, played like 1,200 games in the league, long ass career. So what else can I say? What else can I say about that? Play with the best power forward of all time, arguably. That's all I can tell you.
Tony Parker. I don't. of course, they didn't expect him to be this good. Like
Hell no.
they definitely did not expect him to be this good, but he was a really good player at the time. He gave us Wemby, low key. He was Wemby's coach in France, so thank you for doing that. He was a Finals MVP, you
He
know,
was okay,
yeah.
true. He was fast as hell in his prime.
And
Or
like his like when he beat mans off the dribble and hit a jumper, it always looked kind of like it was going in.
yeah, yeah, he was smooth, man. He was smooth. He had a crazy hezzy because he wasn't giving you crazy moves. You just had a hezzy and just going by
Yeah,
and crazy.
he was 15 and 5. Well, his 15.5 points and close to 6 assists and 3 rebounds a game. The stats will never look good for anybody who plays on the Spurs.
That's good stats, though.
Yeah,
Remember,
it is.
1,200 games.
Yes, the stats won't the overall, stats won't favor them. Number 2 pick was
Number two pick was Gasol.
agreed. I'll say why for Gasol. You did Tony, so I'll give it Gasol. He was actually a very solid power forward, one of the more underrated power forwards of his era,
Yeah,
because he was from Spain, so no one really gave him that respect. People give him a lot more respect when he joined the Lakers. He's like a Lakers legend, a Lakers big legend in that sense. He was a good 3-point shooter, could shoot the jumper very well. He was drafted like third overall from Spain, so everyone kind of saw the talent in there. Fun fact about Paul Gasol trade to the Lakers. The um, the Lakers had to trade like a second round pick back to Memphis to get Paul Gasol. One of the things they had to trade him. So because the whole trade was like a bunch of guys and some second rounders or whatever. One of the second rounders that the Lakers forfeited
yeah.
happened to be Marc Gasol. So it's weird that both brothers were technically traded for each other,
That's wild, actually.
right? Like, who would have thought at the time that that would have been the case? Mark is a two-time NBA champion, six-time All-Star, a two-time second-team All-NBA, third time. He was Rookie of the Year as well. His jersey's retired in Lakers. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah, actually, yeah, yeah. Was Kobe there for the ceremony? I think so, right?
Retirement. It didn't say the year, but potentially. 17 points a game, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. He has a bunch of Euro accolades as well.
Yep,
His
yep, yep.
his accolades are up there. Like he has a case to be number one. Like I was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
thinking for that.
No, he has a case for being number one, but Parker has more rings, so it's like
I think that's why I gave it to is just the Parker ring part. But if I had to pick a career
had
to,
long careers, good careers, so it's like, but
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but I gave it to that. Who is your third? I think this is probably where I think me and you have the same number three. If not, then who knows? But like, who's your number three?
My number three, he's a very, he's been in the league. First of all, he's been in the league quite some time. He's a very long career, right?
I think we have the same one. I think.
We have the same one. He played with a guy from Canada, right? On D'Antoni's squad, right? The
Oh,
Suns.
yeah, yep, we have the same guy.
Okay. ISO Joe. You already know. You
He
already know.
he's one of those guys. Me and you've talked about it before. That in like 10, people won't know. They won't understand when we say this guy's a bucket. This guy was a bucket.
He was a bucket. It's scary how much of a bucket this guy was, but he had Paul on the ground looking for his glasses, look like with that cross before. You know what I mean? He's a big two, big shoulders, can 3 level scorer, hell of a
He
rock.
he scored over 20,000 points in the. He's a seven-time All Star, All NBA 13. Uh, I will shout this out, a three-time Big Three MVP in 2019, 2021, and 2023. Shouts out the Big Three and Ice Cube. Um, but he's been a bucket. Like you said, he
Mhm,
is a bucket.
mhm.
He could have played longer potentially.
He actually could have. He could have.
I think it's one of those things where like he just got older and people probably want to have like a young guy have the spot over
That
him.
was it. Yeah.
But he was a bucket. Is there a player that you can think of that's kind of not like his game, but like gets the accolades of the All Star, but no one really talks to him about because he was never talked about being one of those guys.
I would say maybe DeRozan.
Oh, that's a good comparison. Yeah, yeah,
Because DeRozan's a bucket. He makes All-Star games, but in 15 years, they're not gonna know like this was a guy that would kill you in the mid-range, like silky handles, everything.
that's a good one. I like that one. Yeah, but Joe Johnson was just he was a guy. So good. Four.
My number four, you know what? This guy was a bully.
I think we have the same number four.
He played in the grindhouse.
Oh, definitely the number four.
Shout out to Zebo.
Yeah,
Shout out to Zebo, man.
he
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
you lead this up. You this is all you.
Zebo, like
Yeah.
the Grindhouse was a squad. Him and Marc Gasol at the time. He was with the Jailblazers, I believe. He was a
Yes,
young pup at
yes.
that time. Mind you, he has like no one went to jail. Don't know why they call them the Jailblazers.
I,
Nobody went to jail from that team. Kind of weird to say, but when he was on the Grizzlies, like became a fan favorite. People love this guy. His bruiser mentality was one to watch. Like you couldn't f with this guy ever, ever. You couldn't mess with him.
at all.
I love Zebo. He's the type of power forward I would love to have. He averaged 16.6, so pretty much 17 and 9, with like 2 assists. He's a two-time NBA All-Star, third team All NBA, the most improved in '04. He was a really good player, man.
Hmm.
He was with the Trailblazers for a while. A while. I think many people know him for his you know, his days with the Grizzlies, the Grindhouse.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Shouts out to him. Number five.
Number five on this guy was a defender. Battier.
Wow, we put Batty.
I put
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
See,
Won a ring with the Heat.
he did.
Won a ring with the Heat. Defender, 3-point shooter. Had a good career. You know what I mean? Play with the Grizzlies too. Play with the Grizzlies too. Shout out to the Grizzlies. They had some tough guys on that squad, man. And yeah,
Grizzlies, Houston. He
Houston. Yeah.
had some run with. No, he had some run. Actually, Batty's a good player. Like, so when we talk about this, also like longevity has to matter, and his longevity matters.
Yes, yes. And that's why I factored into both of these drafts, right? Longevity.
I think that next draft, I definitely factored in longevity.
Yeah, because yes, yes, because you see, yep, yep. Yeah.
My number five, I think is gonna surprise you because of my track record of how I talk about certain players.
Okay.
Gilbert Arenas is my
Oh my God, I couldn't believe you put him at number five. I can't believe.
mind you. I was gonna potentially put him lower because I also think there's a little bit of an overratedness to his time in the NBA.
You always is like you only had 2 good seasons.
He
You've been
really did. But I think he's a three-time All-Star. Let me quickly check. But there was a portion in time with Gilbert Arenas that like Agent Zero shit. He was a highlight every night.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Every night
Mm-hmm.
this guy was hitting. He's a three-time All-Star, '05 to '07, and that was it. After those 3 years, he was like not spoken about.
That was you're right. That's what
Right.
kind of longevity matters.
Yeah, so I don't even blame if you have him lower, I don't even blame it because like it makes sense. If I think about he had a hot 3 years and then that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think he may not admit it himself, but he should. He had a hot 3 years and it didn't end up being anything other than a hot 3 years.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Who is your number six?
My number six pick is Richard Jefferson.
And number six is also Richard Jefferson. Why would you
They
say
were oh man, Richard Jefferson, man. What people don't realize is Richard Jefferson was one of those guys dunking on you, catching lobs from J Kidd. Like people do not realize Richard Jefferson was a banger. Do not sleep when you see him on TV and he has a soft voice and a little suit blazer, and when you see him on the Cavs with LeBron just corner three off the bench and whatnot. Don't shit ain't sweet with him. He was really putting on you postering guys in his prime. So, and I think he averaged for his career like 17 points or something like that.
Yeah, Richard Jefferson is one of the
Over
more
like a
underrated
thousand games he
guys.
played.
He's one of the more underrated guys who like he, he people are gonna know him more for his off career, like his
Yeah,
career off the
Cameron, which
NBA,
is crazy.
but he was a guy, man. He averaged 12. He averaged 12.
Yeah,
I
average
think for
12.
the most likely there was a season where he averaged a lot of points. There had to have been. He averaged 22 points two times, averaged a couple 19s, 18, 16. Reason why his average is so low is because his last like few years he averaged really low, 5, 5,
Yeah.
1, because he didn't get a lot of minutes. We had a 17-year career.
17-year career, 1,100 over 1,100 games. That's what you call a long career.
Yeah,
I think he won a ring with the Cavs.
you won the ring with the Cavs. Yeah,
So
yeah. You're making me think of my. You're really making me think of my Gilbert Arenas pick. I can't believe I picked him fifth, but whatever. I have to take that. Who's your number seven?
my number seven pick is after Jefferson. I got Tyson Chandler.
So do I. So do
Jeez.
I.
You lead this one off, man.
Tyson, okay, here's the thing. He had a pretty good like beginning. His end of career was so good. He won Defensive Player of the Year. I think a lot of people can say it. He won it because they won the title the year before, and
Yeah,
people were so boastful of his like defensive efforts that like I think they almost gave it to him. But he's still a good defender. There's no doubt.
very good. Yes.
Every team is looking for a Tyson Chandler right now. Every team wants someone who can play. Literally, Dallas has a carbon copy in freaking Derek Lively
Lively.
right now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? And you know who's training Derek Lively? Tyson Chandler is his coach.
Oh my God.
So yeah, Tyson Chandler deserves that spot. Number eight.
Number eight, shout out. It's Agent Zero. It's Agent Zero. That's
I'm
the eight.
we don't even have to go deep. The fact that I had Agent Zero, a bucket getter, and I don't overuse bucket getters. I'm not the biggest fan. And you have the number eight, man. I had to talk to myself about that.
Yeah, it was
Um,
longevity, man. It was like longevity. I'm like shit. Like it was longevity.
it makes sense. My number eight is Jason Richardson, because he was shorter career, but when he was on, he was really good with Golden State. A good player, a good solid guy to have on your squad. You wouldn't hate it. I'm pretty sure he has
Yep.
a season of averaging 20.
Yep.
He averaged 17.
He was so sneaky. Holy.
Yeah. He was a good player, man. I thought overall, yeah, he averaged 18, 21, 23, 21. He was a good player as well. So
Yeah.
I kind of give him that. Who your number eight was, you said Agent Zero?
I said Agent Zero was my eighth.
Number nine?
You said it. Number nine was Jay Rich for me.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Let's go mine number nine was Shane Battier. That's where I picked Shane Battier.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
think it was more, I didn't take his longevity as much, but I know he was a nice role player, like
Yes.
a good role player, played 17 seasons. You want him on your squad. Not 17, he played a lot though.
I think it was 17.
And Jay Rich also was a two-time dunk champion. So shouts out to that. Shouts out to that. Who am I looking for this guy's numbers? Can't find it. Doesn't matter. Okay, who is your number 10, right?
10. This was a bit of a utility guy in the league. Played for a couple of teams. Gerald Wallace.
My number 10 as well. So our,
Jeez.
our 10 was pretty correct, same.
It was pretty similar, actually. Yeah. It was
Yeah,
just switching the names here and there, but I think everyone on 10 was, yeah, yeah.
ultimately, I think it's my Gilbert Arenas. If I didn't have a because I was contemplating Gilbert Arenas, let me tell you, I would have definitely put him lower, but I'm like, no, let me give him that respect because of those three shining years. But yeah,
Yeah.
Jared Wallace was a really good, another of like my favorite wing type of players: McGetty, Steven Jackson, Jared Wallace. I love these type of small forwards. I just
Corey
love,
McGetty's, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
bucket getters who like played good defense, are really good number three options on teams. Like that's what I like about these guys. And I think I don't think these guys accepted the roles as much, but if they did, could have made a lot of teams better. Like imagine this a Jared Wallace type with the Mavs. Like imagine that's a pretty good squad, right? That's why I like Chris Middleton so much. I love the wing who can get a bucket. He can't really dribble that much, Chris Middleton, but
He got better with the handle pack, though. I'm not gonna lie. He got a lot better with the handle pack.
a guy that I wanted to pick because he played for Utah Jazz was Mehmet Okur.
Shout out, yeah,
He
yeah.
was an
He was
all-star.
decent. He was decent, yeah.
A lot of these guys weren't all-stars that we named. He was actually one of the few all-stars in this draft,
True,
right?
true.
But we didn't. That's all good. The center position in the West wasn't the greatest at the time. Really, just Shaq was dominating everybody. And a guy that I wanted to pick based off his European resume was Andreas Nocioni.
Oh, what was his European? I mean, what was his resume in Europe?
His European one,
Looking at
bro.
it real quick.
If I tell you like his European one, it'll make you feel. And he was undrafted.
Oh shoot, any man undrafted made to the league is already like
So he was a FIBA Intercontinental Champion, a EuroLeague champion, a EuroLeague MVP once, a two-time second team All Euro, a three-time La Liga champion, a five-time Spanish Cup winner, also won La Liga MVP. He played for Argentina, which won the gold medal against Team USA in 04. 08 got the bronze in Beijing. Like his Euro numbers are pretty good. Like he has his Chicago stats. He played for Chicago too. Average like 14 points a game at one point. Played some playoff games. The thing is, some of these Euro guys, it's unfortunate because like a lot of them come to the league much older,
true, yeah.
so no one's really rating their type of game. But yeah, this guy was a good player, man. Good, he was a good player. So that's a guy I wanted to mention. But overall, this draft was okay.
It
This
was
overall
hard,
draft
see.
was okay. The much harder draft, 2002.
Crazy. This is crazy how this draft is
2002. Let's get
so
straight to it. I believe we have the. If we don't have the same number one, I understand why. But who is your number one overall?
I wanted the what they did. I went with Yao Ming.
Me too. It's just this draft is funny. Like when you really think about it, Yao Ming had a really short career.
She had a short 8 year career, but in those 8 years, he brought a lot of revenue to the Houston Rockets, a lot of buzz to the Houston Rockets. You know what I mean? So, and he made the game more, in a sense, more global. That's why we have him
That's
number.
why James Harden is like James Harden needs to thank Yao Ming. The Houston Rockets are the number one team in China, and it's because of Yao Ming.
Oh,
James
for
Harden
real?
is yeah, because James Harden's like the number one guy in China. His jersey sells the most over there because of Yao Ming,
Playing for Houston. Wow.
right? It's that
Yeah.
Houston connection is crazy. It's crazy. Some people love certain like France. They love San Antonio Spurs. They did Tony Parker, and now they have Wemby. There's certain organizations that
They
they
love,
love,
huh?
right? Spain is always gonna fuck with the Gasols. Wherever the Gasols went, they're gonna fuck with them.
Yeah,
Just what
yeah,
it is.
yeah.
Let me go with Yao's stats. He averaged. The thing is, sometimes it's I love doing these drafts because you realize people's like stats and stuff. Yao was a 19 point a game, 9 rebound, 2 blocks a game. He was eight-time All-Star, which I think
Yeah.
he's not much of an All-Star.
Of course,
I think
China.
probably popular vote, most
Yeah,
likely.
China.
You're right. And then a two-time second team All NBA and a three-time third team All NBA. So he was an All
Oh
NBA
shit.
player 5 times.
Yeah, that's legit. He was legit. Yao Ming was legit. We
He
no
was.
Doesn't matter what you say, he was legit.
Yeah, because honestly, I think he was the number one overall pick because of his height. But people, the man can shoot the three.
You could shoot. He had a touch around the rim too.
He was a good player, man. I think the consensus number one overall pick being Yao just makes sense. I normally do like a shout out to certain people who like weren't or undrafted. This draft didn't have like a lot of
There's
people.
no shout outs in this draft. To make the 10 was hard enough.
It was. Who's your number
Cheers.
two? The only person I want to say is Rasul Butler, RIP, because
Yes.
he was a guy that he played on teams, played up for the Raptors. I actually
Yeah.
like wanted him to be on the Raptors, so like, shout out to him. The only person um that I really could mention Navarro. He's like a Spain man who kind of had a lot of he did a lot of stuff. But yeah, there's really no one else to really shout out. Who's your number two?
Number two. Well, let's start off. He has a ring. He has a ring. He played at the Palace. He was part of Malice in the Palace. He wasn't part of it, but he was there. Prince Tayshaun.
It makes sense why you put him there. When I was looking at the list and I saw his name, I was like, oh no, this guy has to go high. If I think about it overall, longevity, the type of players
Longevity
I would
too.
want,
Yes.
he would have to go. He's not there. He's not he's third for me. So I'll say he's my number three. That's still up there. My number two is Carlos Boozer.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Because I think about overall career, he was a guy. He did pretty well. Like he played for my favorite team, the Utah Jazz, at one point.
Yep.
Him and Darren Williams. People really thought they had the new version of Stockton and Malone there.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
People were where they were feeling themselves. Even I thought I'm thinking this team can do it. We have Jerry Sloan. We have Mehmet Okur. Like Orshak was kind of like not Orshak.
Oster tag. Shout out to
I'm
Oster.
sorry, that was he was our Okur was our Orshak type. Like we had AK-47 is about to come and do his
Yo,
thing. Like
AK was
the
killing.
Utah Jazz was a team. Was
They
a
were a
team.
squad. I'm not gonna lie, they were a squad with Mehmet, AK, Darren William. Yeah,
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 you know what I'm
yeah,
saying? It was
yeah.
like, and a lot of we had different young guys
Loser.
coming up. So, but yeah, Boozer was really good. The only thing that Boozer did was that stupid ass hairline and put too much darking. He should just kept the bald. But I think Boozer will be one of those people who made an all star, and hopefully one of his sons will make an all star as well. Because one of his sons will probably be a top like four pick in the draft. Another son maybe be like a top 20 draft pick. But yeah. So that was my Carlos Boozer. Um, who's your number three? Because mine was Tayshaun Prince, but you said pretty much good defender.
Shoot the three, yeah.
Yeah,
Run chase down blocks too. Don't forget.
really good blocker.
My number three is you hate on him. You hate on him. Shout out to Mari Stoudemire.
I do hate on him. I ain't gonna lie. He was
You,
about to be really down on my list. I ain't gonna lie. But
oh,
but the
you're
draft was
crazy.
not good enough for me to put him lower because I was gonna. I give all my love to arenas. I couldn't do it again. I couldn't do it again. But why you pick Amari Starr?
Oh my God. It's like could run the floor, just aggressive, had a nice little mid-range. Was just a great complimentary piece. You know what I mean?
Complimentary piece, but he thought he was number one piece.
Well, not over Stephen Nash. Not over that guy. Hell no. And not over Carmelo Anthony. Hell no.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah, he's
I thought I don't like yeah. I know he was a talented player, but I think about it and I'm just like I don't know something just he's a to me he's okay. I'm not gonna lie. Like I think obviously he's a talented player, but he has a bunch of all stars and he
what was
rebounded.
his averages? Like, do we have to go to his averages? I think 14-year
Amari,
career. Overall points per game, 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 1 assist a game. Career average.
no, I get it. He's a five-time All NBA player, one
Five-time, yeah. Six-time All-Star.
he's rookie of the year. I understand. You're not incorrect, but there's just something about his game that I'm just like I'm good with. I'm chilling. That was your number three, right?
That was my number three pick. Yes.
My number four. is Caron Butler.
Should got the same number 4 pick, fam.
I think it's just a solid wing player that most teams would want.
And the
He had,
defender, yeah. Yeah.
I think, what was it with Charlotte that I'm thinking of?
I remember with Dallas a lot, right? Dallas on that squad. He played for a bunch of teams. He was a journeyman in a sense.
He
He
was,
played for
and
the Heat
he
for a
was
little bit.
he was good at like what he did, a good defender. The one thing that I'll never forget because they show highlights of it all the time. JV, rookie JV holding the ball. He's with the Clippers at the time, and like he's like, "Oh, just give me the ball. Just the end of the game. It's like 5 seconds to go." Da, da, da. He takes the ball, runs down, and gets a layup and gets fouled. And all you see the video of him going like, "It was it was this, you know." I get another shot. I get two shots, and we won. We were ready with him at like 10-15. And it's like it's a clear path. It's a clear path. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? But shots he'll probably be a coach soon if I think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said you have the same one, right?
Yeah. I have Caron Butler number 4.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Booze. And you
My
said
number
it
5
best
is
about
Stoudemire.
Booze. But let me add on. Booze had a very beautiful post game.
He did.
He had a nice little spin move and turnaround jumper. Like it was very smooth. And don't sleep on that. Boozer could play. He could play.
Oh yeah, yeah. He could definitely play. Mine was Stoudemire. I'm not gonna go more. That's it.
At least he made the 5. At least he made the 5.
At least he
With
made
this draft, he had to make the 5. Because if he didn't, like,
it
I
this
need to see who we put in. Okay, 6. This is where it starts getting tricky, like real tricky now. 6, I went with Nene.
so did I. So did I. Because because
Brazil.
he has the best like not that he looked like he had the best career after. So I
Yeah,
have to go into Ney. His time with Denver was really good.
yeah.
Another like solid center that you would want. He was like, was he not undersized?
He was definitely undersized because he wasn't even 7 foot, and this was in that time.
And
But
he
he
was
played,
like,
like, I think, over 1,000 games or something like that.
yeah, he was definitely a bruiser.
He was bruisey, yes. Remember, man's from Brazil. You got to be tough.
When he got drafted early. Wow, he got drafted 7th overall. That's not bad. Um, his height, yeah, he's 6'11". Yeah, he's still pretty tall. Oh, I did want to say, I didn't even know. I thought he was just a story, and you know ball, so you know this guy, Dejan Wagner.
Oh, shout out. He was supposed to be a guy,
He he was
like a
he
real
was supposed to be
guy.
better than LeBron.
Yeah. Like,
So
shout
yeah,
out to his son coming up because he's a real baller.
yes, yes. And so I thought he was. I didn't know he got drafted. I thought he was just like a high school like legend, and things kind of got over him and blah blah blah.
But he got injured, got a scoliosis or something
Yeah.
in his 3rd season.
Oh, that does suck. That
And
sucks.
then after that, it was like, in his third, announced that he was done. I don't know.
Another shout out to Jay Will because
Man, that
Jay
was supposed to be a guy too.
he was supposed to be a guy.
He was supposed to be the guy. Shout out Duke. Shout out Duke.
Like
Because he
he's
was
supposed to be a
killing those.
guy. So it's one of those things that like unfortunate accident happened and
That's why they're not supposed to have motorcycles in the league. And that's what I realized, like, hold on. Yeah, they're not supposed to have it. And
yeah,
yeah,
they can't do nothing. And it makes sense. Like if I'm an owner, like I'm restricting you too. I'm
yeah.
not putting all this money in an investment.
No
And
skiing and shit. Yeah, no
yeah,
skiing
none
and
of that.
nothing they can do.
None of that. And that's in their contract. They can't do none of that stuff.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was in the contract. It's in the contract now.
Yeah, it's all that stuff's in there because they don't want no more bad shit to happen. They're like, and it makes sense.
Let's just
Who is
avoid it.
right? How do you avoid that? Number 7.
Number 7. I got he's a defender. You know, he's a journeyman too. Can shoot the 3. Matt Barnes.
So do I. So do I. Yeah. Everything you said, defender. You know, it's not much to say. These guys are real. This is funny. There's a lot of journeymen in this draft.
Serious.
Because Caron Butler was a journeyman. Amari Starner became a little bit of a journeyman. Nene, Matt
Yeah.
Barnes, other bands like There's one
I
guy
got
that
it.
we haven't named yet that was definitely not a journeyman, so we'll give him his love. Matt Barnes was good. He's could have been a football player. Could have been one of the best football players because he was the number one in the state at the time.
I didn't even know that.
He was a player.
He was a guy in
Yeah,
general, huh?
in football, he was a guy. So,
True. Shout out Matt Barnes.
yeah. You're number 8.
Number 8, a little bit of a journeyman, Drew Gooden.
I didn't put him on my list, but he deserves mention. I
He's
agree. There's
okay.
mention. He played for that Cavs team. He was like LeBron's like fourth guy. So I give him love too. So
Solid role player, journeyman, you know.
my number 8 was a man who not a journeyman, but a man who's been in the league for years. Adonis Haslam.
Shout
Gotta
out.
give him a shout out. He's won titles with the Heat. He stayed with the Heat the whole time. Became an assistant coach. I think if we talk about he was the longest person, the tenured person to play ball out of this whole draft. He literally just retired 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's played 20 years, which a lot of mans don't play 20 years. Played 20 years with one team. Um, if I think about full on career, why wouldn't you want Haslam's career?
It's true. Because
In this draft, especially. Why wouldn't you?
which people come to mind that played 20 years for one franchise? Only two. R.I.P. Kobe. Shout out to one of the greatest Maverick, Dirk.
Right.
That's it. Those two. Who else? 20 years one squad. Who else?
Right. Yeah, and then like you think about he was a ball player, then they put him as like an assistant coach, like or like he was part of the organization in some sense. They paid him to stay a year longer. They knew he's not gonna play, but just to kind of like
He's the guy in practice, like, okay, do this, young fella, do this, young
yeah,
fella,
like
don't do that, young fella. Like, this is how we conduct ourselves, young fella. Don't answer these type of.
yeah, and like everyone has a lot of respect for him. So I don't know. I give Haslam a lot of respect. Um, you say you're number 8 already?
That's my number 8.
Who's your number 8?
Udonis. I had Drew Gooden at 7.
Oh, okay. And number 9?
Number 9. I got number 9. I got actually Reggie Evans.
If you needed a rebound, this guy will give you one. He's probably the best rebounder of like all time. Like not best.
Yeah,
There's like
yeah.
Rodman and things like that, but he top 5. Reggie
He's
Evans top 5.
definitely, yeah, yeah.
He was the Raptors center, uh, and he like when he was on, people you can't underestimate a rebound. This guy, his PER on rebounds is probably like through the roof per 36, probably like a 20 to 22 rebound rate. And
It's
like
crazy. It's crazy. And he was like 6'9".
you know how much more offense he's giving you just by catching these rebounds? He gives you so much ability to score. So shout out to Reggie Evans.
Shouts out to Reggie Evans. Possessions matter in basketball, kids. Remember that.
Legit, he
Possessions
gives you
matter.
that.
Yeah.
You know, we've named mans that are more talented. Even in the past, there's mans that are more talented in the league. But you ask any coach, not GM or president who also has to care about financials. You ask them if they want Steve Francis or they want Reggie Evans on the squad. A coach is gonna say they want Reggie Evans.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, we like a bucket getter, but we want the guy that's like gonna fucking dive for every loose ball, every rebound counts. Like we want that guy. That's like Rodman made it. Like Rodman, you couldn't. Rodman had a lot of antics, and people closed a blind eye to it because that man would get rebounds.
Hella antics. Hella antics. Hella antics.
Who is your so Reggie Evans was my oh no, let me say my number 9. My number 9 is Luis Scola.
Ooh, I had to take him off my list because I had to. He was 10th on my list, but I had to.
A lot of it's based off Euro and like when he was in the league with like
He was good
Houston
in the league.
and he was good. Toronto had him for a little bit, another Toronto guy, and he was wasn't he started because you needed a starter. Like he was our starter before we got a Pascal to get drafted, but Luis he was a good player. He was a good player. Number 10.
Number 10, he was a Raptor too, you know. He was a defender, kind of, you know, utility guy, John Simons.
I didn't name him, but he's a guy to mention as well because I didn't even know he was in this draft. Because I think about O2 draft, I'm thinking like far, like time ago, and he played for a minute. So
He
shout
played
out to
here.
him.
He played for a minute. Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
shout out to him. This draft had a lot of once again journeymen. Had a lot of journeymen, which is not even a bad thing because sometimes you just need journeymen. You have guys who just kind of stayed in the league, played solid on their roles, and these guys did. So my 10 was Reggie Evans too, just because the rebounds they matter. They definitely matter. But that's our list. Anything you want to talk about O2 draft, O1 draft, anything you want to say about that?
No, that covers everything. That covers everything. Yeah. I'm looking down.
Um,
That covers everything.
our next draft, we're not doing 03, 04. No, no, no. We're doing 03. That's it. Because 03 draft is arguably one of the best drafts of all time. Even though I think our top four, no matter how we kind of list it, is going to be our top four. But we may just go ham on the fact that this draft was just so great.
Go have my favorite player being in this draft. Shoot. I
My
want to put him. I already know where I want to put him, but it's going to be a lot of hate. There's going to be a lot of hate, but
I won't lie, and this quick snippet for next week's pod. But at one point, like I'm more of a Wade fan than LeBron. I love LeBron, but I'm such a Wade fan. I love everything about Wade. I think he's amazing. I think he's going to be one of the most underrated players in the future. I think people don't know how good he was. If he didn't have bad knees, he'd be continuously killing it. Um, to me, Wade is better than so much players that you could like. You go one for one, bar for bar. He's better than Steph Curry. He's better than Kevin Durant. I guess these guys can shoot, but Dwayne Wade was a lockdown defender, one of
Wade
the
was
best
good.
guys to block shots. You can't tell me nothing about Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was a guy. Every
Andre Wade,
shooting guard you want him to be like.
yes. He brought Miami that ring in '06 because it wasn't Shaq.
Exactly.
It wasn't
Exactly.
Shaq. And out of them taking it, he was out of them. He was the first man to win the ring, and everyone thought it was gonna be LeBron, right?
Exactly. So I don't know.
So,
I think the world of that guy. So but that's our pod. That is our pod. There's no NBA news right now. I think the Laurie Markkinen got signed. That was a while. Shouts out to the French. I just had his name and now it's gone. Yeah, Yabisele. He's the one of the bigger guys on France. He got picked up by the 76ers, which I'm like, shout out to 76ers to pick another guy. If he's gonna shoot the three at the level he shot the three during FIBA, during the Olympics, and he's a bruiser, if he gets his minutes, like
Philly's loading up. Philly's trying
Philly,
to make it to the East Finals at least.
that's probably their goal. That should be their goal. I think, and we'll talk about what would make it, teams just when we get closer to the season. We'll talk about. We may not do all the drafts. We may stop and start talking about because the NBA season is in October, which
It's
is like
just now, yeah,
it's
yeah.
coming up, and then preseason is gonna come. You have to. There's so much that's still gonna happen. But for the DM podcast, that is YS. I'm Mike. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us who you guys would put. Is Yao Ming just that good that he became number one all? How overrated is Amari Stoudemire? Is he overrated? Is Agent Zero overrated? Are draft picks just overall overrated? Let us know, and we'll talk again. Peace.